You might have heard about slavery in the United States, but did you know that the Caribbean also went through this difficult time? This part of history has left a strong impact on our cultures and traditions that we still feel today. Let's get into this right now. From 1526 to 1867, something really disturbing happened. Around 12.5 million African people were taken from their homes and forced to become slaves in the Caribbean as plantation workers. The journey they had to endure on ships is called the Middle Passage, which was the most traumatizing part of the slave trade. Unfortunately, out of this large number, about 12.7 million managed to survive, but sadly, around 2 million lost their lives due to harsh conditions, sickness, and mistreatment. While there could be a thesis written on a sensitive subject, here are the 5 most disturbing facts about slavery in the Caribbean. At number 1, imagine being stuck in a tiny, dirty part of a ship for weeks. African people who were slaves at the time were often boarded on these ships and treated like objects chained together with very little space to move around. The ship was filled with awful smells and people were suffering greatly. It was a dark and hopeless experience. During the ship journey, diseases like dysentery, smallpox, and fever spread rapidly because of unsanitary conditions. Sick slaves were sometimes thrown overboard to stop the diseases from spreading to others. Seeing bodies in the water was a heartbreaking reminder of the lives lost. Once the African slaves arrived in the Caribbean, their suffering just continued. They were made to work on big farms known as plantations, where they had to toil under the hot sun, often without proper rest or enough food. They endured harsh treatment, leaving scars on their bodies and their spirits crushed. Plantation workers were always expected to maintain certain appearances, and those who had a lighter skin color or knew how to communicate better were given preferences. But hold on, masters were cruel for a reason. If they didn't like the slave, they would resort to mutilation, which in very easy language meant cutting off of ears or slashing the slave's body so much that it would lose skin and flesh. Gouging out eyes and castrating both male and female slaves was yet another cruel practice, which was so common that everyone was used to it. One of the cruelest aspects of slavery was the separation of families. Mothers were taken away from their children, husbands were separated from their wives. The strong bonds that held families together were shattered for the sake of profit and exploitation. And of course, when the slaves felt emotionally drained, their performance would deteriorate, and this would lead to whipping out their flesh. In most cases, these slaves would die because their wounds could not heal in time. This fact is a continuation of all the shocking crimes that were committed against these slaves. While it's a known fact that slaves were mistreated on the plantation fields, you would be shocked to know that some slaves were smoked alive. This means that if the master wasn't pleased with the slave's work, he would burn him alive. Despite these hardships, some slaves fought back. They rebelled against their oppressors. For example, Tacky's rebellion in Jamaica and the Haitian Revolution were courageous attempts to break free from the chains of oppression. Sadly, these acts were met with brutal retaliation, showing the lengths those in power would go to maintain control. The legacy of slavery is still a part of who we are today. It's not easy to talk about this painful history, but it's important to remember it to understand why our cultures are the way they are now. The African heritage that runs through our veins is a testament to the strength of those who survived unimaginable hardships. By remembering their stories and struggles, we honor their memories and find strength within ourselves. As we explore these difficult topics, let's remember a special word from the Caribbean: waffles. It's not a goodbye, but a reminder that our history is always with us as we move forward.